Hi. Valve games have always had a special place in my heart for a number of reasons. But if there's one thing I forget to do, it's to beat them. I honestly feel like a criminal because I've never seen the end of a Half-Life game. But why would I want to be Gordon, slayer of microwaved lunches, when I can be joined by three other like-minded buffoons in some zombie co-op fun? So, get ready for the long haul and prepare for spoilers as I play and review every single campaign in Left 4 Dead 2.
All to get a gift bag. This image of customers scrambling for discount deals.
The game begins with the craziest bloom you will ever see, almost beating out Battlefield 3 in its supernova-esque lighting. This is where you get to meet our main characters though. Coach, Nick, Rochelle, and my favorite, Ellis. You start off Left 4 Dead on top of a hotel in Savannah, Georgia, and need to fight your way through hordes of zombies to safe houses. In dead center, there's really only two set pieces, the hotel and the mall. I love fighting through the hotel, as it's cramped, hectic, and honestly nostalgic, because that's as far as baby me ever got. I find fighting through the burning part of the hotel to be super cinematic, but I can clearly see why, or I guess not so clearly see, why some people wouldn't personally enjoy it. And if you don't like it, after this you do get rewarded with going to a gun store. What I find really cool about the gun store is that it basically has almost every single gun on display that you can choose from, as well as get a laser sight. So it's kind of like a tutorial for all the guns in the game. After getting through the gun store, you then have to break into another store. Why? Because a strange man over the intercom told you to risk all your lives for some cola.
But I can clear it for you. In exchange for you running over to the store next door and picking me up some colas.
For achieving this death-defying feat, he blows up a truck, allowing you to access the mall. Speaking of the mall, it's sadly kind of the same as the hotel. It's cramped and hectic like the hotel, but it's just darker and sponsored by stores like Taco Bucket and Disco Pants and Haircuts, the latter of which I'm pretty sure is a Blues Brothers reference though. It's still fun in its own way, but it's definitely not as fun as being able to see the legend Jimmy Gibbs Jr.'s car. Chucking gas cans around and dodging hordes of infected while you try to fill up the car is very enjoyable and honestly anxiety inducing. But the cherry on top is that you get to see a cutscene with you driving through a giant horde of zombies with the car. Dead Center is a classic, but it's not the best, landing itself at a score of 4 out of 5.
Spotted in the water here in Blackrock and Salt Hill both today and yesterday.
The passing was kind of underwhelming and I don't have a lot to say about it. I also don't have footage of it, which kind of fits because it's honestly a repressed memory. Zoe and the surviving members of the Left 4 Dead 1 crew just kind of pop up and it really caught me off guard. After this introduction, you then get to travel the streets of some random Georgian town and then get absolutely deafened by what I think is a storm. It's just super loud.
Hey, look at it! Oh God, I have a whole ass pool in my shoe!
This campaign is just mostly forgettable, except the sewer part, which is in it, and I honestly thought it was just a nice change of pace from the streets above. Seeing a different variant of the witch at the wedding was kind of cool, but at the end you fill up generators kind of just like Jimmy Gibbs' car, so it's kind of disappointing. One upside of the campaign I can think of is just how deadly the AI is, and they just kill loads of special infected as you're filling up the generators. and they honestly saved me from a hunter. None of this, however, really saves the campaign in any way, and I'll just end this chapter by summing it up with a quote from my friend. I asked him what he liked about the campaign, and he replied with, nothing. Absolutely none of it. With all that being said, I think the passing truly deserves its 1 out of 5.
All over the country of people dressed as clowns standing outside of buildings or along roads in the dead of night struck a very real fear.
Dark Carnival was actually a very pleasant surprise to me. The first thing I noticed in this campaign was the banger Carnival rendition of the Left 4 Dead theme. I just absolutely love when games do this. But before you're allowed to get moving, you're forced to confront the saddest loss of the entire game. You're forced to abandon Jimmy Gibbs Jr.'s ride. Ellis then gives the saddest impromptu funeral for the car, and it's just heartbreaking.
Well, this is it. Let's not make it harder than it needs to be. You did good.
After this emotional scene, you continue down the road on foot to fight through a hotel again, and onto the Dark Carnival. The Carnival has to be hands down my favorite area so far. It's a breath of fresh air compared to the city streets of the previous campaigns, and it also includes some of Valve's clever game design. Throughout the beginning of the level, there's functional carnival games which you can play, which give you rewards, I think, as well as just Steam achievements, which I love. The ways you attract the horde throughout the campaign also just get better and better throughout it. There's a merry-go-round which alerts the horde, which is kinda cool, but it's definitely not as cool as the roller coaster you have to fight over. And then at the end, you get to defend the stage of a rock concert that has fireworks and pyrotechnics. Definitely a great finale for a great campaign. Also, Zombie Clown. Maybe it's just the PTSD from the passing, but Dark Carnival undoubtedly gets a 5 out of 5 from me.
Get back.
I wasn't really sure what to expect with Swamp Fever, but I can definitely tell you it lived up to its title. The campaign starts right after Nick shoots the pilot of the helicopter that picks you up at the end of Dark Carnival.
Nick, what the hell? You shot the pilot. Well, he wasn't doing a very good job once he became a zombie, now was he?
This is what forces the survivors to end up in the bayou. The scenery in this one is a huge but welcome change to the game, and it's nice to run around something other than just civilization. Another welcome addition is the mud people. They just run around on all fours and splash mud into your face. Kinda like the weird guy behind the Burger King. They're a simple concept, but I like them. A little bit through the bayou, you come across a crashed airliner that has a little bit of goodies, including a scar. After you make contact with potentially the second pilot Nick has shot, you find your way into the shanty town. It's still swampy, of course, but the houses on stilts add a little bit of verticality than the previous segments of the campaign. But in my opinion, nothing in Swamp Fever beats the end of it. It's a nice way to wrap up the campaign, with the survivors defending a plantation from hordes of infected, including a couple of tanks. It's a nice set piece, and it's very different from running around a dark swamp for the rest of the campaign. Swamp Fever is really good, and it gets a 4 out of 5 from me.
Guys, I'm so trapped. I have no umbrella.
Coming off the heels of Dark Carnival and Swamp Fever, You'd think Hard Rain would be on the same level, but not everything is created equally. This one starts you off in a burger chain full of guns and ammo. This is what we call environmental storytelling, because it shows you that we're still in America. Right outside of the restaurant is a path that leads you to a neighborhood, and the first thing I noticed is just how empty it felt. Maybe I'm just starting to get used to the claustrophobic nature from the previous campaigns, but this one just felt kind of off. However, the sugar mill is a part that I actually do like. The extra witches are something different, as well as an achievement, but then you get to defend the top of a building while waiting for an elevator, and it gets really hectic. Right after this peak though is where this campaign starts to crash and burn, kind of. Because after getting the gas for your boat, you then have to backtrack through the entire campaign. I really don't get why it's here in this one when no other campaign has it. It tries to make the backtrack interesting by adding some hard rain and flooding, but it just feels like extra work. Hard Rain just gets a 2 out of 5.
Why do you laugh? Why am I met with laughter? Why do you hug me? You took mine.
Set in New Orleans, the Parish is definitely one of the best campaigns. The distinct architecture of the real-life city is recreated within the game, and it's great compared to Hard Rain. This is also where riot zombies are introduced, right at the end of the Left 4 Dead 2 campaign. Introducing a cool new special infected right at the end of the game is interesting, but better late than never, I guess. Once you get through the streets, it leads you to a park where you get to see what you've all been waiting for. Horse. Sadly, you can't bring it with you, so you just gotta go to a bus station, which of course sets off an alarm and alerts the horde. This part is honestly super anxiety inducing, as you get to see the infected climb the walls en masse just to get to you. This escalates even further as you get to see a jet bomb a bridge, which was just crazy, leading you to the cemetery. This is pretty scary because, you know, that's where the dead people live. It's short, but it's a nice set piece, and I think it would be cool to maybe have a whole cemetery-themed campaign maybe. In the New Orleans spirit, the way to progress to the next chapter, the quarter, you have to activate a parade float to get across a gap. It starts a little fight with the horde, but it's honestly a breeze. This campaign really hits its climax though at the bridge.
Hey, those are soldiers. Let's let them know we're here.
What y'all doing?
If you thought any part of the game was intense before this absolutely crushes it in comparison. It's so claustrophobic to dodge and weave between cars as a tank can throw said cars. It's a wild experience, and it's definitely a great way to end a great campaign, and it deserves its 5 out of 5. The Parish is technically the end of the Left 4 Dead 2 story, but you can also play the Left 4 Dead 1 story inside the game as well.
Which one of you is House? I was a patient of yours.
Oh, well, if you want to leave the chocolates downstairs.
I played the original Left 4 Dead many years ago, but I was told the mechanics of the second game were different enough to warrant me replaying it again for this video. And I'm glad I did. I love No Mercy.
I guess we're going to the hospital.
Maybe it's just nostalgia, but it's honestly one of those classic campaigns for me. Just that image of the beginning rooftop is ingrained into my mind. Anyway, onto the campaign. From the rooftop, you fight through some apartments, onto the street, and then into the subway. Getting through the subway tunnels is awesome due to how dark and cramped it is, and it really gives off those zombie movie vibes. You have to start a generator once you get through the subway, and I honestly remember this being a lot harder when I was younger, but it was way easier with 3 other players. The part with the scissor lift though was way more chaotic. We were getting slammed with special and normal infected left and right. For surviving this ordeal, you get rewarded with the best part of Left 4 Dead. Sewer level! And it even comes with the poop men. We love the poop men. Once you're out of the sewers, you can get on to the scariest and best part of the level though. Mercy Hospital. This place is absolutely filled with zombies. Like, they're just everywhere, including the walls. The corridors of the hospital are just so claustrophobic, especially when defending the elevator to get to the roof of the hospital. Speaking of rooftop, that last stand is definitely one of the best due to just how crazy it can be. Just listen to my reaction to the amount of zombies before we even started the horde. Oh wow. And after this, it just got crazier and crazier. Maybe a little too much because we barely got out with 2 people. All in all, No Mercy is a banger and definitely one of my favorite Left 4 Dead campaigns of all time, giving it a 5 out of 5. Crash course begins right next to another downed helicopter.
Guys, everyone, I want to say something. I hate helicopters.
I just assumed it was Nick's 3rd pilot kill of the game if you include the pilot in Swamp Fever. The first part of the campaign honestly reminds me of Dead Center a little bit, just in the Left 4 Dead 1 style, as you fight through some urban parts and then blow up some cars to progress through the level. The safe house you reach after this actually marks the halfway point of the campaign, because for some reason this one is 2 levels instead of the usual 4 to 5. The last defense of this campaign is also right after this, as you lower a van as it unbelievably slowly lowers. It's more or less the same as the one on top of Mercy Hospital, even including the minigun, but it's made a little harder by putting the ammo a little farther away. There's honestly not too much left to talk about this level because it's just so short, but Crash Course is alright. It's fine, but it honestly just feels more like filler than a full campaign, so it deserves a 2 out of 5. The last campaign left a bad taste in my mouth, so I was really hoping for a good one. And a good one I was given. It starts off normal enough with you fighting along more roads and then through a tunnel, but then it returns. The sewer level. It's pretty different compared to the other sewer levels because there's some elevated walkways and a couple big open rooms. Oh, and of course, the poop men are back. If you want something even more new, I present to you the Train Safe House. If I'm being real, I love the train depot as a concept, and I think it would be really cool to see a whole campaign based on it. Once you're done saying hi to all of the trains, you walk up onto a church where a guy locks you out and actually calls the horde on you.
Here.
What?
I can make you leave. Don't believe me? How about now?
I thought this was awesome when I first saw it, since you don't really interact with a lot of other people throughout the campaigns. He also turns into a boomer or another special infected that you have to kill at the end, and I just think that's a really cool detail. The church leads to some more street fighting, but it does feel a little different as it has you jumping across rooftops. In my opinion, it's just good to see that it doesn't feel the same. The last chapter of this campaign, though, is the coolest. It has you defending a boathouse for the last stand, but the infected literally tear the walls apart. It's so perfect, and again, it gives off those early 2000s zombie movie vibes. I enjoyed Death Toll way more than I thought I would, and it is good enough to get a 4 out of 5. You met Banger Campaign number 1, so let me introduce you to Banger Campaign number 2. Dead Air starts you off in a greenhouse with some sort of plant, and it leads you onto some rooftops and through some apartments, honestly kind of reminiscent of No Mercy. I hope you love rooftops, because right after this you have to activate a crane, which then gives you access to even more rooftops. I actually don't mind this though. Once you're done with your roof escapades, you can make your way through some offices that include some pretty cramped cubicles that you can jump over, which is pretty neat. Maybe I'm just a big fan of scary close fights. I don't know. Part 3 of Dead Air does bring you to a construction site though, a kind of new location, as well as allowing you to see the self-annihilating hunter. You actually do activate the horde in this part, and it gets pretty hectic at times, and it's definitely a highlight. Right after this comes another highlight, and the sole reason why this campaign gets its name: the airport. It starts you off in the bagging area, where you get the chance to look upon the greatest technology known to mankind: the fence-seeking van. Truly a marvel of the modern age. This new opening you create brings you to the actual terminal, and it is one of the most terrifying parts in the game. You have to run headfirst into a giant horde of zombies while dodging benches, and it's just all-out chaos. If that's not good enough for you, once you get through that mess, you can walk onto a runway and just watch a plane crash right in front of you, throwing debris everywhere. At this point, I just kinda assume every crash in the game is Nick's fault. The final stand of the campaign is actually right after this too, where you have to fill up a plane so you can take off. It's nothing too different, but it's still fun. I really like this campaign, and it also completes the trio of plane, train, and automobile. I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5, another banger. But will the next one hold up?
Plus 20, don't have one right hand off.
Blood Harvest begins you off in the woods, a stark contrast to the setting of Dead Air. This part isn't too crazy, it just has a couple of special infected and it leads you to the safe house surprisingly fast. The level then has you go through an evil door, which, of course, alerts the horde because why wouldn't it? And it leads you through a tunnel that has a lot more train cars than infected. Just like with the first part, the safe house is just kinda right there. This also comes up super fast to me, but I could also just be crazy. After this comes part 3, the bridge. What do you think the bridge could look like? I wonder if it's gonna be like the Parish, where it's giant and has a bunch of cars. Nope, it's just an old wooden bridge you destroy with a train car that leads you to the safe house super fast. After you're done regrouping, you come upon a train station, which means even more fun around trains. Would you believe me if I told you the safe house is even another train too? I feel like Valve's honestly missed an opportunity here for a train pun, because I see a lot of trains, I see a lot of blood, and I don't see a lot of harvest. What little there is of the harvest, though, starts right after this in the last part of the campaign. You also have to disobey a sign, which is like kinda rude. The last defense happens right after this, and it's pretty much the same ordeal as Death Toll, as you defend a house that just gets ripped to pieces by the infected. It's not bad per se, but I feel like it should do something at least a little different, since it's the last standard campaign in Left 4 Dead 1. To me, it feels like a weak way to end the game, but what else can you do? Blood Harvest gets a 3 out of 5.
And so on and so forth. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
I just want to start off by saying I had high hopes for the sacrifice, and I came out very disappointed. It loads you in looking on the scene of a truck crashing into a boat, because that definitely happened on accident.
Holy shit! Did that truck have a head-on collision with a boat? Man, I wish I could have seen that.
Shut up, Francis.
Actually, I'd like to see that too.
Both of you, shut up.
Pretty close after this weird scene is a tank trapped inside of a train car, which I think is pretty cool, and it also alerts the horde. This leads to an epic train maze that has one turn. This takes you to the next chapter titled The Barge. Spoilers, you barely get to fight over the barge, but we'll get there. Once you get out of that train station you fight through, you take a trip across one dock, over the water, and up onto another dock, and there it is, the barge. There's almost no zombies there, and it feels more of a detour than what the name of the levels should be. I just think we need justice for the barge. Right after this is also the last part, because the sacrifice is only 3 parts. Yay! My favorite. In this section, you also have to activate some generators, which almost gave me flashbacks to previous campaigns, but luckily you don't need any fuel to start them. Once this task is complete, everyone climbs onto the bridge, where magically one of the generators stops working, and someone has to be the sacrifice. It's honestly not a bad campaign, but I just wish it had more meat to it. Feels like wasted potential to me, and for that reason, it gets a 2 out of 5. These 2 last campaigns I'm gonna cover aren't actually part of the main story. Both of them are community made and were put in the game officially by Valve, one having the Left 4 Dead 2 cast, and one having the Left 4 Dead 1 cast. The first one we're going to go over is
Walking on fighting side of me. It don't. It don't go down.
Robert, it goes down.
No, it don't.
It do go down.
Oh!
Something I noticed right at the beginning of this campaign was that the movie poster it shows you had no tagline. Literally every other campaign in the game, including the one after this, has a tagline, but this one just doesn't have one. Anywho, Coldstream starts with a very source looking cutscene, and it caught me and my friends completely off guard. Whoa. After this epic cinematic, you walk along the titular cold stream and through a brightly forested area. The stream leads you to a bunker that slowly opens to reveal the safe house. Overall, a pretty chill first part. The next part after this has you exiting the safe house and into...
Oh, Jesus!
Once your corneas are thoroughly roasted, we get to meet my favorite infected again, the Mudmen. No campaign can be bad with the Mudmen, and because of that, you get an insane scene of a tank tearing down trees and throwing rocks. Something I happened to notice when I was looking back through the footage is another crashed helicopter. If you're keeping track, this is probably Nick's 5th downed air vehicle. Moving past this poor pilot, you're forced to blow up a fence which alerts the horde and puts you into a very short but insane sewer section. The entrance is filled with infected, and the water under you is actively pulling you to a drop in the sewer. After this, there's a staircase to the safe house, and it has water pouring down from above, and it's really hectic, and it makes for a really cool set piece. Part 3, Memorial Bridge, surprisingly starts with a bridge, and also the return of the riot zombies. Sadly, this is the last and only other level, other than the Parish, to actually have these guys. Continuing down the bridge, it just gets crazy as a tanker explodes, and then once you get off of it, some military jets fly in and blow it up as well. The last part of this campaign has you calling in a chopper and racing down the cold stream to finish the level. The ending is short, but overall the campaign is good. It would have gotten a 3 out of 5 because it had no tagline, but honestly watching it back, it looks really fun and looks like one I'll have to replay. So I think I'm gonna bump it up to a 4 out of 5.
Free now, the weight is tied to your waist. You're shitting me.
Funny enough, the last campaign that we're going to talk about is called The Last Stand, and it's definitely a good one to finish it off with. This one starts you off playing the Left 4 Dead 1 cast right after you're done burying the secret 5th survivor.
I guess we're walking.
I hate walking. Don't be an ass, Francis. Whatever.
You can mourn for as long as you want, but you don't have to. After this, you carry on down a road and see another plane in distress. But I bet this one doesn't crash or anything. Continuing through the level, you come across a junkyard in the middle of the woods, and it just happens to really give off those dark Left 4 Dead 1 vibes. There's a defense inside of the junkyard, and it definitely gave me flashbacks because you have to start messing with generators, but it wasn't too bad. Once all the generators are ready, you get to drop a crate from a crane to progress through the level. And just when you think you're safe, surprise tank. When you get past this evil sneaky tank, this is when you can see it. Nick's final air kill. Right next to this crash are some cabins and the craziest showers known to man. Near to this is a bridge that takes you to a safe house, and the last part, the lighthouse finale. The lighthouse is actually just up from the road where you start, so you don't have to be disappointed about the wait. One thing you do have to be disappointed about is the lack of stealth.
Jesus, so weird.
The defense of the lighthouse starts as soon as you turn on the generator, and it gets scary fast. Of course, there's your horde of normal infected, but there's also a tank, which can easily throw you off the cliff, like it did to my friend. If you thought that was bad enough, the gas cans come back. After you kill the first wave of zombies that come after you though, the gas filling does go by pretty fast. Once you're done with this, the rescue boat shows up, along with 3 tanks and the craziest Left 4 Dead music known to man. It's like some crazy metal version of the regular tank theme, and it goes insanely hard. Once you get near the boat, it shoots up a flare that bathes everything in a red glow, and it's such a nice visual to end it on. Overall, The Last Stand was just a banger campaign that had crazy Left 4 Dead 1 vibes, and it's definitely gonna get a 4 out of 5. And that was all 14 campaigns within Left 4 Dead 2. I gotta say, it was just an absolute blast to record this video, but I definitely couldn't have done it without my friends. They made every campaign so much fun, and I appreciate it. For my opinion on the game, I'm just gonna say it's goated. After playing it all, I can definitely say that Left 4 Dead 2 is one of the best co-op games out there still. If you're looking for a good way to spend a couple of hours with some friends and you just love chaos, this is for you. Especially since the game likes to go on sale for pretty cheap since it's a Valve game. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you got this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, have a good one.